Okay, I think we're live again for our final table. Okay, I think we're live now. If we weren't before when I started talking, Alex had to go run, but we have brought on Aaron, our good friend and fellow content creator, to help tell me
A
I don't lose my
content
voice
creator
entirely,
with an asterisk.
so that I do not lose my voice entirely. So I don't know. So you've been jumping around, I think, a little bit more than we have. What do you think so far of the tournament, the decks? Anything that stood out to you in particular?
Yeah, I've been bouncing around between a couple of the different tables, just kind of supervising games. I'm actually surprised at some of the decks that are here. They've got a couple of pretty interesting builds. It looks like. I didn't actually get a chance to look at the deck lists beforehand, but there's the number of like strength and numbers decks that we have, and I'm always happy to see two roost decks,
Yes.
even
Yeah, the
if one is a Jesus roost.
strength and numbers has been doing well. I that's an agenda I like. Wasn't sure how well it would do in multiplayer. It seems like it's done pretty well.
Yeah, I really like. Was it Tree Stacks build in the last one?
Tree Shack, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tree
the
Shack. Yeah,
Tree Shack or Trees Hack, I don't really know.
yeah,
But yeah, the Yusuf Kai seems like it's a deck that's sort of built around claiming Prince, which is really cool.
yeah. Well, yeah. The big thing was the strength in numbers and then the fortitude stacking, which is something I've been messing around in some of the other decks that we've played in
Mhm.
non-stream games. Um, but yeah, he's really getting the fortitude stacking to work a little better for him than I had been, and it makes sense with the strength and numbers there,
Right.
just to give him some durability out there.
Yeah, yeah, it's been interesting for sure.
Did they click the buttons before everybody was seated?
I don't know. They did just rewind time.
But now the rivals button is gone.
I see it there. I still see it.
Oh, do you? Okay, it must still just be missing on my screen.
Yeah, it
Or
looks like it's
the
still.
rivals tokens are missing. The rivals button
Oh,
there.
yes, the tokens might be missing. I don't know about those.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Maybe they'll figure it out. If not, whoever's sitting will just have to reload the game. What sort of things have you guys seen in the games that you've been watching?
So yeah, we definitely, let's bring the numbers like we talked about. We did we did see a horde, the herd turn or game one that just didn't never really got off the ground.
Oh
Started
yeah,
off with four mortals and just they kept building up and just could never really get ahead of it.
just
You
kind
know,
of
which
got
is
buried under that first draw.
yep, yep. It's just interesting because I know that's been like a big topic of conversation. It just sometimes I think sometimes they can get real lucky or real unlucky.
Yeah.
Um, I've noticed that there's been some good. Well, of course, I don't know for sure. I wasn't in the table conversation, but like there's been some good sort of not what's the word I'm looking for, cooperation between the table to
Oh
sort of
yeah.
bring the leader back. You know, in a couple cases where it looked like they were gonna maybe run away with it without, but there was like kind of a coordinated effort to bring them back down, slow them down, um, and it's so that was interesting to watch from an outside perspective.
It looks like they might have to reload the game. I just got pinged about that.
Okay,
So hopefully this doesn't disrupt anything.
it'll be fine.
Yeah, because it
And if it
shouldn't kick us
does,
from the room.
right, and if it does, then I guess we just won't see the final table.
Um, yeah, so being privy to some of the in-game conversation, there have definitely been some tables where there are certain players that are kind of like talking everybody through everything that's going on the table and kind of like just making everybody aware of situations and stuff like that, to kind of direct those sort of cooperative moments and bringing down the current agenda leader or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big skill, right? Is,
Right.
being able to sort of play the political game in terms of talking people through, and not even necessarily always convincing them of doing something, but just, like you said, "Hey, if we don't do this, this is gonna happen,"
Making them
or,
aware, yeah.
"You could do this, and that would hurt, help or hurt or whatever," so
Yeah. Yeah. And you definitely just bouncing between the tables, you kind of see who's kind of been doing that, has been used to doing that in their local meta, and they're already like an old hand at it. Some
Right.
people are more convincing than others.
Right, right. And some people are also more willing to listen and, where some people are like, "Hey, no, I wanna I wanna play my game, and,
Right.
I don't really want your, I don't know, opinion or whatever," so,
Yeah, some people are just going to do what they're going to do.
yep,
And
it's always an interesting.
yeah, some people have a certain amount of, I guess I want to say, skepticism about that when somebody else at the table is kind of talking them through the situation. Because there's sort of like a lack of trust because they think, oh, this other person who's trying to convince me to do something has their own agenda.
Right, and it's like, so yeah, sure, I mean, obviously they do, but sometimes that agenda is literally just like, "I don't want that person to win, so,
Right.
let's
If
all."
that person wins, the rest of us still lose. So
Right.
yeah, I think in general it's good to kind of listen to those players who are talking things through at the table, even if it's not you or somebody you know or anything like that. Because they just might point out something that you weren't aware of. But then,
Yep,
have that healthy sort of skepticism. Make sure you're aware of their board state and things like that.
yep, I mean, that's why, like, I always also in the reverse role, like, I've always found that either listening to or pointing out, like, kind of facts is
Yep.
better than trying to come up with plans, right? Like, something like,
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, even something like, "Hey, if you can stop that person, I can stop this person," is fine, or, or like, "Oh, hey, by the way, like, they're gonna get at least 3 agenda next turn based on what's on the board. Like, just so you know, that's what's happening right now." Like, because that's obviously that's something that, like, yeah, you're telling it to them with quote unquote an agenda, but, like, that's just a fact. Whereas, like,
Right.
if you said like, "Oh, hey, if you attack this person with a social attack, that'll be good." Like that, okay, that starts to be like, well, what's your what's your real agenda here?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. A lot of times I'll look at it like just, yeah, like you said, presenting the facts or just like mathing it out for them.
Right. Yeah. That's a big one too, is like you said, doing the math, because sometimes, I mean, I'm the same way, right? Like you're lost in, you're thinking about your own lines or whatever, and so you just don't even look and think that, like, oh wait, wow, you know, that's a thing that can happen. They can win next turn if we don't stop them.
I just got to do the.
Here we go. All
Yep.
right, we have the Trinity Hunt the Hunters deck we had last time. We have a brother as a leader. We have a
Um,
clandestine, and we have a Alejandro.
Brother as a leader kind of surprises me.
That is interesting.
I suppose you kind of get your big piece out there right away, and then you get your other attackers kind of
Ah,
supporting him,
yep, that makes
and
a lot
it's
of
not
sense
going to
with
be
the pit.
contested.
Right, with the
Oh, and
pit,
with the
that makes a
pit,
lot of
yeah,
sense.
cool.
Clandestine sewers, a very, or at least I would think, a pretty popular combination.
Yep, definitely.
And hey, look, it's another Alejandro library.
I honestly didn't see. Well, maybe it was just the tables that I've been watching or popping into. I think I've only seen the one Alejandro deck. Yep, and this was the one that I saw before.
I don't
I sort
remember
of
if that's the
expected to
one I
see
saw.
others.
I thought there was 2.
I think there is two. Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I saw the one that was a Alejandro, or no, that wasn't the Alejandro deck. What was the Alejandro deck? I mean, it was Knowledge is Power, but I'm trying to remember. Maybe I did see this one. I don't know. I don't remember anymore.
yeah, I think
It's been
this is
forever.
the Alejandro Knowledge is Power.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um,
I would assume, but
one would hope. We're going to be awful disappointed if it's not.
yeah. I mean, I'd be interested to see, right? Like, it's always interesting to see new builds, but
Oh yeah, give me that new jank. So
ooh,
we have the clandestine sewers as first player, and not the ideal draw for them. With the 2 citizens out there.
yeah. Comes Kim.
That's another character I sort of didn't expect to see much uh, in
We've seen
here.
a lot.
I wonder if they anticipated seeing some conspiracies or something like that in the tournament.
There we go. Yep.
After the student, yep.
Dude.
Get those stats.
Yep. Pretty simple first turn. And hey, another more stats, the athlete.
Yep.
We had one starting turn that was literally athlete, tour guide, student, and something else.
Oh, so all
Wow.
the stat bonus
Oh,
ones? Yep.
yep. All the stats.
I
Uh,
almost might have gone for the skateboarder with clandestine just to get that BP for a little more blood because you can mend before the hunger hits you.
oh yeah.
But yeah,
Goes
that's like a preference thing. Oh, Aurora. Love to see her.
Yep, I know. Yeah, she's one of your favorites.
It's just such a good control style card.
hmm
That fear on demand.
hmm
I'm curious what agenda that they are playing, I should say. And then, yep, they're going to pick up the athlete for Aurora.
Yep, seems legit.
Seems good.
Get an agenda. Oh, playthings.
Ooh,
Interesting.
I like that.
This is cool. All right, this is interesting. I haven't seen playthings in quite a while.
Yeah.
I know
Um,
Alex was kind of big on it, but
yeah. And so just so I'm not sure if people are aware of the standings or anything like that. Actually, I'm not sure which. Let me just.
it's Karalaco.
Karalaco is dissenter.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as as people can see, I assume we're using the. I'm not sure what the overlay looks like on the stream. Are
I
you
don't think we
using
have an
the?
overlay for
Okay.
this one.
So, anyways, the blue player Karalaco or Dissenter on Discord is currently at 5 points in the standings, and then the other 3 players at the table are each at 4 points
Yep. Along
for
with
tournament standings. And then there's 2 others. Yep, 2 other players at 4 points.
yep. So obviously, if Karalaco, I'm sure that we're not pronouncing it right, but
Yeah.
if they win, obviously then they have won the tournament because we're not doing a cut today. I don't think
Nope. No cut.
prep tournament. But if they don't win, then it'll be much more interesting among who of the 4 point players wins. So
Yeah. And they recruit 2 vampires. Oh, no SAD in the streets.
Yep. It was Harry and a who's that?
Summer.
Summer. Yep. Those 2 stats for Trinity.
Yep. Yeah, just seeing how the Trinity deck ran in the last game. I liked how protected it was with Leia, Swiftfoot and the return and everything like that. I think I kind of sold Leia a little short, just because she has kind of lack of stats and things like that.
Yeah, she's like her ability is super good, but because of her stats, you need to keep feeding her attack cards, right?
Yeah,
So it's like a balance there.
yeah.
Uh,
You either need like a support character or some sort of draw mechanism to keep yourself in attack cards.
yep.
And then Alejandro gets an inmate.
Maybe this was the deck I saw earlier because I remember inmate and would be like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I remember this sort of apparently janky build.
It's interesting, but yeah, now the 7 cards, so presumably Alejandro will lose a blood because we have
Yeah,
4
I
different
assume he's going
ongoings.
after the addict.
Yep. Probably mending.
Well, so he's still going to end up with a 7 in hand, right? If my math is right.
Yeah, I'm just assuming that he's mending, not attaching. Yep. That's what it looks like. There.
There we go. I think they were probably just talking it through at the table, trying to figure it out.
Right,
He
yeah.
still has to do the actual mend, though, right? Because it looks like he has 5.
Yeah, he's 5, and I think he triggered so 1, 2, 3, and then 4 because of the protests. 3
Okay.
universities and then the protests.
Oh, he was triggering the university. I missed those.
Yep. It's Vagrant.
There we go. And
Well,
then
this
this
would be good for.
assumed Hunt the Hunters deck, or not Hunt the Hunters, Horde the Herd.
Yep.
The other HTH deck.
Yep. And there it goes. Boom. Easy enough. Claim a Vagrant. But no agenda for the Vagrant, unfortunately.
Right.
That's rough. I mean, it's fine, but
Then I'm guessing we're going to see an unhosted draw here unless he plays that other vampire. Nope. Well, that'll show me.
yep.
Just getting some setup.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah. Get it out there and get it ready.
You might as well.
I'm assuming that they're going to flip their agenda.
Ditching to mend. Yep. From the one clandestine loss.
That's because it's mend and then end of turn. Yeah.
Yep.
I forget. Well, because I was thinking already of the new agendas that are like exhausts, but
Yeah.
this one's not. This one's end of turn.
Yeah. There's been a little bit of kind of missing, quote unquote, missing triggers because people don't quite have the order of start of turn, the beginning phase, and end phase.
Right.
So the order of operations.
Right. Yep. Which is why we kind of talked about this. I think Alex and I did on stream.
Hmm.
last game is like it's always good to just sort of walk through those steps, like literally out loud, like
Yeah, take your
mending,
time.
mending, end of turn,
Yeah.
sad. Because I know I'm really bad about like when we're playing casually, I'm really bad about just forgetting to take my sad damage. Not on purpose. I just like don't. I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, taking the damage during the end phase is a little interesting because normally in most card games your end phase is like board state maintenance and stuff like that,
Right.
and just sort of cleanup effects. So having to deal with that extra little damage is kind of throwing a curveball for people, I think, sometimes. And then we get a Beretta over here.
Pow pow. Those are some big characters for a pit deck.
Yeah, they are. How
Three,
does this?
three fives.
Yeah, we're already down to 5 prestige for that player. And who is there? Oh, the Hunt the Hunters deck has them picked as the rival. And here they go after their rival. I don't think we got a discard for Intel, though, unless I missed it.
Oh no, it doesn't look like it. Woof.
Ouch. Oh, it's just a straight mental attack?
Yeah, Beretta does have two mental.
She sure
Singer
does.
does for voice is 4, and brother is 5. There should have been a discard though. Yeah.
Oh, there it goes. They got it. The Sweetums.
Yep.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Now, the
that's
question is, are we going to see a physical attack from Aurora now? Yes, we are.
yep.
Well, this could be quick.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
I mean, Clandestine does have 5 and a Vagrant.
yeah, but no stats, so he's going to have to deal 6 damage here. Nope, never mind. They went for the discard for Mending, not for Intel. Oh, right, because they played Beretta.
Oh yes. Ah, rules. Oh
Actions.
no,
Oh,
but
wait, they
Beretta
have
they have
Pit.
pit.
I
They
was
they
not
might have
wrong.
been
Maybe they
they
did
might
an
have been another
unhosted
draw.
draw or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh.
Ooh.
What's really rough about that is that Kim is not coming back next turn with as a 4 cost. So it's like
Oh, definitely.
they almost
So they're
have
going to
to
have
just
to do an unhosted draw into a vampire.
draw a vampire and play a vampire. They
Yeah.
almost have to, yeah.
Well, draw a vampire and hope you drew one that you can play at this point, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, it
not
doesn't look like again, it doesn't look like there's a lot of other
overlap.
Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh.
This is just a very brutal, like, we have not seen a game like this yet. People just coming out swinging, throwing
I think,
haymakers.
yeah, I think they're definitely recognizing the danger that Red is in and are
Yep,
reacting to that.
yep.
Back up for 1 shield.
Ooh, Apex.
Ooh, brutal. I really do like the Hunt the Hunters deck that Carrie Laco is drawing, or Dissenter, whichever name you want to go by. It
Yep.
has a couple of interesting additions to it. I don't want to go through their deck list though, or anything like that.
Yeah,
But
but yeah, no, it is.
we were talking about this in I think our last game that we played off stream. How Royal Retreat would be a good haven for Hunt the Hunters, just to
Yep,
dig for the sad.
yep. Yeah, I mean, it's like you've got the Royal Retreat for Hunters, you've got plenty of aggro to or attack cards to take out other stuff. I am real curious how well it works if you meet another Trinity leader.
Right.
I mean, like, it obviously runs some other like Summer Moon and stuff, but
Yeah, I expect Summer is probably their backup. I don't remember the other characters that I've seen in the deck, but it seems like just because it's very social attack heavy,
right,
Summer is probably a pretty obvious backup for that. So you can
right,
still get good effect off of your Apex, and then, I mean, your Intimidation is in all likelihood going to take one down anyways.
right. I mean, the other thing too is right. If you're hunters, you can potentially outbid like an animal deck that, or I guess not. No animal deck's gonna run Trinity, so it's mostly gonna be hunters. But like,
Yeah.
you can bid a little bit higher because you have the prestige
Yeah,
generation.
like you saw in that last game, the player ended up ending the game at I think 12 prestige with 3 characters in play,
Yep,
or was it 13 prestige maybe?
13. Yeah, 13 prestige.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely no shortage of money, um, and still hadn't run their general supply out. I think they still had the 11 in their general supply, just because they had a bunch of characters damaged at the end.
Yeah,
But yeah, Hunt the Hunter is definitely, you can make back a lot of the money that you end up losing in trying to maintain these characters out there. So yeah, the bidding is definitely fine in that sense. I have the same opinion if you're running like a Roost deck. You feel pretty good about bidding higher than most other players would for your preferred leader.
right.
And then here comes the Alejandro Knowledge is Power. And then he's going to do the Burn to Mend to get the extra card he needs to trigger for 10 for the 2 agenda. So he'll get 3. Does that bring him up to 5? Oof.
Yep.
Knowledge is Power is another deck that I kind of sold short in my assessments, I think.
So my big question about it is like, how often do you end up fighting over it? Because like obviously Alejandro Library Knowledge is Power is really good.
Hmm.
But what happens when 2 of them sit down at a table? Like, is there a backup leader that works even okay for the deck? I just don't know.
I I honestly can't imagine one that there is. Um, because if you're running University Library, you need those. There's nothing else that you're going to get Alejandro's draw off of. So you're just getting your draws off the University Library to sustain your hand.
Yep,
So I'm not sure how you kind of make that up. Um,
yep, exactly.
the only things I can think of, well, and they don't really work, is that Summer, if you have 2 animals attached, mends at the end of turn, but that doesn't fit into the deck archetype.
Right,
You can run like Fortitude stacking for mending, but that doesn't fit into the deck archetype much either.
right. Yeah, exactly. It's just it's so dependent on I think that Alejandro library that
Yep, and there's the unhosted draw for a
nope,
character. Nope.
nope, can't play the inmate.
I'm sure
Big
they'll
oof.
get there. Yep, they got it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I could tell, but it's just like, ooh,
Yeah, that is a big oof.
that feels bad, man.
I think you kind of have to kill that vagrant that you put on your second tradition just to get the defensibility
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
City deck was a vagrant, wasn't it? Yep. Uh, there was a judge in the game asking if the city deck was flipped.
I saw.
Yeah, which was the vagrant, which got pulled immediately by the domain. Did they gain their agenda?
They will now.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and this kind of goes into what I was talking about, people just kind of gliding past a lot of those triggers. So you do torpor mending first, and then end of turn happens after your torpor mending.
Right.
So they
Yep.
would be gaining their agenda before they take their sad or draw their cards or anything like that.
Yep.
Which I don't think there's a lot of situations where that's really going to matter. But if you get into the nitty gritty of it, it's uh, there are some situations where it could potentially be an issue. Oh, and let's see if
I mean, the nice thing is the Aurora, the 2 physical attacker
is
is
now
down.
off the table. Yeah,
But if they've got a good range attack for Beretta,
yeah.
although
And
even then, I don't.
Clandestine currently has the 2 mental.
It's still only 5 with the Vagrant, so, like, I don't think they'll be able to knock her out this turn.
Yeah.
They can put a hurting on her.
What was remind me what was the Horde the Herd's second action? Was it a unhosted draw?
I think it was just a draw.
Unhosted draw,
Yep,
and then okay.
yeah, which I'm a little confused why they didn't draw another vampire, but
Right. It seems like that would have been the way to go. Well, I suppose they know next turn they're getting back Kim. Though at this rate, I probably wouldn't rely on that.
right.
I wonder if this deck is kind of set up to be a sort of switch deck with the playthings. So they come out aggressive trying to knock out their rival, but then if that's not a possible scenario, then they switch to agenda gain with playthings. It seems like a pretty easy switch, especially with the double stat characters and then brother.
Makes sense.
Attacking with brother here. Discarding for intel. I'm guessing this is going to be a physical attack just to soften them up.
Yeah, I think. There it is. +2 shields.
-1 shield.
-2 shields.
Oh, -2 shields.
Yep.
And then you get
And
the
brother has the
+1
potence.
from potence, so 3 damage, knocking Clandestine down to.
Yep.
There we go, 3 with the Vagrant trigger. So, what does Beretta got here? Looks like they're just trying to figure out the damage, verifying that.
She should take 2, right?
Yep,
Because it's 3 total.
-1 Vagrant. Yeah,
-1 Vagrant, so she should take 2 off. Yep. There we go.
got it. The interesting thing here is I am pretty sure that Knowledge is Power deck. Oh, Knowledge is Power is running Heightened Senses, I'm pretty sure, but if I remember correctly, Heightened Senses, the defender has to be in the streets,
Yep. Has
so
to be
his
in the
hands are tied. That's unfortunate.
Yep.
Though I assume if the Pit deck had the attack, they would be throwing that out there real quick. So I'm guessing they probably don't have it and are looking at their other options.
I mean, but, like, what? I don't think there is a 2 damage ranged attack, is there?
Sure there is. There's the 38 special is a 2 damage ranged, and
Oh, is it?
the sniper rifle, the 30-06,
Oh, yeah, the
is a 2
3006.
damage. I
Oh,
will slap you.
I don't know why I thought those were both 1 damage. Yeah, so, yeah,
Yeah,
like you said,
they're both two.
if they had if they had either of those, presumably they would have played them.
And we do an unhosted draw. Yeah, I have to imagine if they had them in hand, they would have been throwing those out there real quick. And then we must be in the end phase. Didn't do any torpor mending. No sad to take. Carrying on. So the Hunt the Hunters deck does get a target to cycle. Yep, which they do immediately.
And there you go.
And nails it.
Yep, that's why the roost is pretty, or the retreat is pretty good.
Yeah. Smart play. So with them just looking at, I mean, I can't imagine they're not going to take out that special affairs. But then seeing the position that red is in, how do you think that might affect their line of play?
Right, like, well, I mean, the thing is, so red does get back Kim on their turn, um, but they could
Yeah.
potentially still lose. They could potentially still get her and Clandestine knocked out.
Here's an
Uh,
interesting thing that I just realized. Well, okay. It doesn't matter in this scenario, so I'll leave it until later. Carry on.
yeah, I mean, oh,
Well,
okay.
that's unexpected. This
Yep.
has got to be a social attack at inmates.
Man, people out
Wait,
here
why is this happening?
throwing bows. I don't know.
Why are we taking down the inmates? It's not their rival. They're not their rival. Because gold player has. Well, gold player does have blue as the rival, but I can't imagine that they were going to end up getting attacked.
Yeah, I don't know. This is interesting.
Maybe they were just worried about being a little exposed because they didn't have anything to prevent inmate from hitting them physically. Best
Yeah,
guess.
I can see that, I suppose.
Yeah. The interaction I was thinking about was with Harry O'Brien out, you could actually go for Prince and then use his mend effect during the Prince attacks. I hadn't thought of that before.
It's true.
Unfortunately, they don't have any animals, so moot point.
Right.
So Doc is blocking here? Maybe it's a mental attack? Nope, definitely
Or
social.
social.
Oh, we're trying to get the fear token. Oops, what am I getting? Ping. Yeah, so they were trying to get the exhaust and fear on inmates, but then Doc ends up blocking and takes
Good block.
no damage. Good block. And then Trinity has to leave Summer's party. Right, Summer did make the attack, was exhausted, and then
Yep.
yeah. Yep, there we go. I'm wondering if they really were worried about just that inmate on that, or if they didn't really have a better action to go with. I probably would have thrown that. Oh, but black player is all fives, so there's no room for intimidation there. That would do it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess scared of the inmate attacking. I don't know.
That's got to
And then
be my
why
best
is
bet on it.
and then why is Harry still at home? They didn't take out the sad.
They did take out a sad. The
Oh,
new
the new one
sad
came out.
was the knowledge is power players draw
Okay.
from the
Well,
city
okay,
deck.
that makes sense, but
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, the other thing that the inmate can do really easy that I saw this player doing in previous games is knocking out the sad with inmate just for the agenda gain. So
That
that
is
might
true
be a
too.
concern of theirs. They just wanted
That
to
that does
protect
make
it.
sense. That does make sense too. Yeah, because inmate can just do it by himself. Although, I
Yeah.
mean, only being at 5 prestige is, like, not super high, so
Yeah, I have seen. Well, I don't think we really have any prestige drain decks here. So I've seen a lot of players running a lot lower than I am comfortable with on prestige.
right. It's true, though, we haven't really seen a lot of prestige drain lately, or,
Yeah,
today at least.
yeah, definitely not today. I haven't really heard about them recently. And here we go, spending another prestige down to 4. Yep, and exactly goes for that sad just for the
Yep.
agenda gain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards in hand. Well, 11 cards that matter in hand.
Yep. So we gotta do something with Alejandro.
Yeah. And shakedown.
There it is.
And he's probably going to shake down black player for their attack cards, I would
Yep. I
hope.
would assume, yeah.
There we go. Now I wonder if their attack card spread is enough that it's not going to matter too much.
Yeah, it is interesting because we were talking about them needing specific types of attacks, right?
Hmm.
So if they do have the ranged, maybe they'd say the ranged. But I mean, it's tricky too, right? Because like they are threatening in ranged, physical, and mental potentially. So
Right. Yeah, they have plenty of options. And this is apparently not an easy decision. Or
yep,
maybe he's just trying to memorize the other cards in hand too while he's in there. The hand knowledge in itself is pretty useful.
it is.
And we're at 5, 6, 4. Agenda totals are still pretty close.
Yep. Which feels like the knowledge is power player probably likes because now they're. Oop,
Ooh,
yep. Only the one discard.
must have had only the one physical.
So that probably means they do have a pretty good spread of attacks,
Yeah,
which also makes sense as to why that decision might have taken a while.
right.
If you're gonna pick only one card, you're trying to pick the right card. I get Sucker Punch because it's targeted,
Yeah,
but
they're going to get Kim back before Aurora would be making her next physical attack, so you want to get rid of the sucker punch.
right. And Clandestine does have uh, 2 mental and 2 social.
Yep.
I guess if there was a range though, like, that could be the potential problem because
To prevent blockers. Well, I think
right.
between sucker punch and a ranged attack, it's kind of a moot point because either way the
True.
attack will go to clandestine. One because it can't be
Right, right.
blocked, and the other because it's
That's true,
targeted.
that's true. I mean, I still think you'd probably take away the range though, just because of the extra damage bump.
Right.
But but then again, Aurora has the physical stat, whereas uh, Beretta has the mental. So
Yeah,
I
Beretta
don't
has
know.
to pay. We
Lots
did
of
see,
choices.
yeah, clearly no lack of options.
Yep.
Did we see a mental attack out of? Yeah, we did see a mental
Yep.
attack out of that deck before,
Yep.
right?
That
So
was
they
what
must
knocked
be
out
running
Kim.
a good spread,
Yep. That was what knocked out Kim.
which is a good idea in this shakedown meta. All right,
See,
and
now
we get another Vagrant opportunity.
I think Clandestine has to take the Vagrant now, right?
It has to.
I'm still surprised why they didn't draw a Vampire
Last turn is their second.
last turn.
Yeah.
To give you the potential of playing a third this turn.
Well, they're still gonna second tradition the Vagrant, which I think is, oh boy.
See, but like again, so they used an unhosted draw
Yep.
to grab Jesus and then play him, but like you could have just gotten that for free and still had the action to take a Vagrant on Clandestine. Like it seems
Yeah.
like a play to me.
Potentially bit of misplay going on.
I mean, like I realize,
Obviously, we don't know what their hand is,
right?
but
But like drawing one extra card from your deck, trying to look for a reaction. I
yeah.
don't know. And they did have the Cloak of Shadow, right? We saw that last turn.
Yep.
So they did
I
have a
definitely feel like taking the Vagrant would have been a better option than playing the Jesus.
right.
Because
But I
Mark
guess
Kim
yeah,
back.
right. But what I'm saying is, I guess like you can do both if you just draw a Vampire.
Yeah.
Like between turns.
It looks like they did not discard to mend Kim.
That's weird.
That's really weird.
I can't imagine like one of those cards has to be not as important as having a third Vampire.
Right.
Especially with Jesus, right? Like Jesus is easily knockoutable.
Yeah.
Like way more knockoutable than Kim.
Well, so gold player did just see the attacker's hand, so maybe there's a bit of table talk letting them know the
That's true.
situation.
That is true. We don't know what they're saying to each other.
Yeah. Yeah, and watching Satyrs and being at hearing the table talk previously, I know Satyr does do a lot of talking out there.
Right.
He definitely wants people to be aware of the situation.
Well, that's actually a really good point, right? Is like with that hand knowledge, if you're makes it even better if you're able to spin it and use it,
Yep.
in the political game.
Yeah, especially since like in for Satyr's deck too, drawing out these things is only to his benefit, especially since he's
Yep.
already at 8 agenda.
Yep. As I was just looking, like we've got 8 to the Horde is at 7, 3 on playthings and 4 on hunt hunters. So I mean you got to think that the knowledge is power is basically just trying to keep the herd deck live long not enough for him to get to 13.
And now I think the pit playthings has to kind of, I'm imagining there's no attacks in their hand
Right.
to be able to take out their rival. So the thing that I would hope to see most is some sort of setup attack, and then hopefully a Aurora attack on Alejandro to slow the Knowledge's Power player down a bit
Right.
to get that fear token. Because I don't think you can rely on Trinity to have enough Apex Predators in hand to slow that deck down.
Right. Yeah. 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 If you're counting on her doing an intimidate or a fear token every turn, that seems not super reliable.
Right. That's excessively optimistic.
Yep.
And we're getting some sort of attack out of Beretta. Looks like we're going at Clandestine.
So
Maybe this is that ranged attack.
I would assume this is the ranged attack.
Which, if there was an attack in hand, makes that Jesus play yet more confusing. and the not mending on Kim.
Yep. Right, like, 'cause that's the thing is, like, you can do both. You know, it's not like you had to either play Jesus or Mend, it's like, play
Right.
Jesus and Mend, and then you're not in danger of being eliminated.
Because Aurora by herself without a card has pretty good odds of taking down Jesus
Uh-huh.
if you lose
Yeah,
Clandestine here to Beretta.
right, I just like, I can't imagine that, you know, there's 7 cards in hand, I can't imagine that all of them are that important, but
Um, I'm
I
not
don't know.
really sure what the target of the attack is yet, though, either. We haven't gotten the intel
True.
payment.
Maybe they're going after the knowledge is power.
Yeah, it looks like we see a lot of hands moving around here over current health totals on
Yep,
both the knowledge is power and the clandestine player.
yep. A 10 standoff. And there it is.
Oof.
We still don't know who the target was,
Yep.
but that's
I'm just going to remind them about the intel. Yeah, we didn't see the intel payment. They do have the celerity, correct? It's only one. And
yep,
Beretta has that by herself. Yep.
yep.
So that's going to close out the game as soon as they pay for that intel.
Well, because the Vagrant stops it, right? So that's
Oh,
3 oh, yeah, 3,
no.
4 damage. Yeah, I would
2,
think.
3. Yeah, so 4. So the Vagrant stops 1. Clandestine should be at 1 left because she had
Shit
4
flying.
blood. Yep.
Yeah, yep.
There's the
Okay, now I'm
intel.
real interested as to why
He didn't call
range.
ranged. Yeah.
Because in here goes Aurora, it doesn't even need a card.
Yeah. Nobody can block. Can't play heightened senses for her.
Yep.
She has probably 0 defenses. Seems like we were probably over optimistic on the table talking that was going on.
Although maybe it's a mental no, it can't be, right? Like, this has to be a physical.
It's got to be a physical attack. It is a mental
Or
attack.
2 mental, yeah, 2 mental. Just to stop against the shield, that does make sense. If you have the 2 mental, that is the safer play because they don't have the Malkavian for, uh, insanity defense, and so you can't play the holdout or the cloak, right?
Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, no, that makes sense. That's game, right?
Um, we are doing 3 mental. She has 2 mental to block it. Should be game.
Yep. See if somebody posts in the thing.
Let me just see. I'm really interested to know why the yep, looks like we're getting the table results posted into the chats.
There it is.
So that was I can't do math. That was about 45-minute game.
Yeah. I mean, I am surprised that I mean, like we said, I'm just surprised that they didn't bring Kim back.
Yeah, so there obviously was a good spread of attacks in their hand. They had 2 ranged attacks, 1 mental attack, and obviously the 1 physical attack,
Right.
not knowing what the other 2 cards are in hand.
Right. I get why Saturn chose the Sucker Punch, but
Mhm.
now that it's only 1 damage, I think getting rid of those ranged attacks that Beretta can boost up an extra 1.
Yeah, I think the range attack would have been the better option.
Right.
Um, yeah, just because, especially with the drive-by, because that's going to end up taking out Jesus anyways. So that kind
Right.
of compresses what you're ending up needing to do.
Yep.
Because in that turn, you would have needed to take out Jesus to prevent the insanity defense, like you said, and
Yep.
you're still softening up clandestine.
Yep.
So if you would have ditched the range attacks, also if you would have ditched the range attacks, that would have maybe
Well,
put the player in a situation where they didn't have enough cards to pay for intel.
right. So if you ditch the ranged attacks, then
First attack is
Beretta
the sucker
Beretta can
punch.
still yeah, Beretta can still do a mental, but, like, you've got 2 mental to defend instead of no physical, and you can't boost it by an extra 1, so
Yeah,
it's still 4 damage, but it's with a 2 stat instead of a 0 stat.
yeah, and clandestine still would have had the vagrant at that point.
Yep.
So Jesus would have died to the sucker punch.
Right. And again, like, all of this is avoided if you just bring Kim back.
Yeah,
Well, not avoided, I mean, like, things are still looking
lessened.
rough for you,
Yeah,
but
you're in a
you're not
bad
all
way.
right, you're not eliminated. Yeah,
So
well played.
let's see. Yeah, definitely. So I think that's Allie will end up at 7 points,
Yep.
and the knockout was, I forget which player. Not Satyr, not
It was, Naru.
Northron.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Northron will end at 4 points. Allie will end at the 7. Dissenter will end at 6,
Yep.
and Satyr will end at 5.
Yep. So it's just a matter of who wins table 2, because if one of the 4 if either I think, Levy or Levi, probably,
Levi or Tree Shack or Tree's Hack. Uh,
although yeah,
they both have a, well, it'll depend
Trisac
on
is in
strength
game
of,
4.
what's that? Levi and
Trisac
Tree Shack are both at 4.
yeah, yeah, but they're in different games, I didn't realize that, different tables.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, Trisac is in game 4. So we could potentially end up with 3 people at 7.
Yep.
So yeah, which we you can't switch over because Alex, who is running our stream, had to leave for some personal business, I suppose. Um, so yeah, I mean, any closing thoughts? First of all, like big thanks to everybody who played today. Obviously, I don't think we didn't really say this after each game, but like I think we got to watch 3 pretty well played games.
Yeah.
They were good games. They were interesting games. It was real good to see people flipping cards.
Yeah. I think
So
there's a lot
thanks
of
to
good
everybody who came out.
information for people who are looking to go out to the Prince events. Big thank you to the people who actually put this together on the
Definitely.
Discord. DJ has been working a lot on this.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah. Big shout out to them. Big shout out to the judge team. I know you were you were part of the judge team.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
not going to thank myself.
no, that's fine. I'll thank you. Who else was I know? Coyote was a judge. Uh,
Coyote and Life is Sin were the
Life is
other
Sin.
hosts.
So
Yep.
thanks to them too for judging. And obviously again, people playing. I think we will definitely talk about this a little bit more on future episodes when we talk about
Bit
Prince.
of
So
a
we're gonna
wrap up.
yeah. So we're gonna. I think our next episode is gonna be the second half of the Shadows and Shrouds box, which is
Oh, yeah.
the Sombra half, and then after that, sort of time to coincide with the first Prince event in 2 weeks, like we talked about at the very beginning of the stream.
Hmm.
in Minnesota. We will be releasing sort of our, what our take is on Prince, and, it's interesting. I think my thoughts have been shifted a bit today. Like, it's always a little bit tricky to guess what the,
Right, because we're all
what the
kind
meta is
of,
gonna be, but
yeah, we're all in our own little kind of bubbles mostly. I know a lot of people are playing online, but a lot of people are kind of playing within their personal friend groups online, so we're not getting a kind of broad meta. Uh, it's not getting as much exposure. So seeing these things and
sure.
what different people are bringing to the meta and how that's going to end up shaking out and changing people's opinions on things, I've definitely seen some things that I didn't really think of before as a potential good meta choice.
Yeah, again, like, I know one of the things I was excited to see before the tournament was the strength in numbers decks,
Yep.
and they performed well. Hunt the Hunters still seems quite good. Not quite I don't think it's quite in the same spot it was at Gen Con, which is good, but it's still very reliable, I think.
Yep.
Horde the Herd, I don't wanna see be like, "Oh, I'm totally vindicated and was totally right on Horde the Herd." But I mean, because like, it was what this deck, I mean, he got eliminated, but he was at 8 agenda, right? Like, definitely
Yeah.
was in the game, in the lead. But I don't think I think Horde the Herd and particularly Knowledge is Power are quite good at sort of sprinting out an agenda, and so players really need to watch those
Keep an
decks.
eye on them. Yeah. Because they can
Exactly.
kind of reach for that extra agenda.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. I'll definitely be processing this. Hopefully we'll be kind of playing a few more games, and then we'll be, like I said, we'll be talking about it on an episode here in a few weeks. So,
Yeah. Sounds good.
well, thanks for coming in and guesting.
Uh,
And
Thanks for having me, I guess.
yeah, and I think with that, we will go ahead and probably call it a night.
All right. Take
Thanks,
care.
everybody.
Bye.